What if I told you that you could drive through a billion-year-old scar where North America almost split in two? How about that you can stand on shorelines that haven't seen waves in 11,000 years? Welcome to Roadside Geology on the Rock Record. I'm Jess, a geologist, and today we're taking one of the most geologically rich road trips in North America. We're driving from Minneapolis to Duluth and then up the north shore of Lake Superior. It's 300 miles of glacial lakes, ancient volcanoes, and stories written in stone. As always, the series is inspired by the Roadside Geology books by the Geological Society of America. Today I am using the Roadside Geology of Minnesota, of course, written by Richard W. Ojakangas. Sorry, Richard, I can't pronounce your name. If you want to follow along or curious for more information, be sure to check out this book. Buckle up and let's go. Alright, so we're starting a roadside geology journey here just outside the Twin Cities because flying into Minneapolis was just the easiest option for me. Most of this video is actually going to be spent further north along the North Shore, but there is some cool geology on our way up to Duluth, so let's check it out. They upgraded me to a Bronco Sport, and this is dangerous because I've been wanting one of these, and I'm very excited. As soon as we leave the Twin Cities metro area and head north on I-35, we're driving on top of glacial history. For the entire stretch between Pine City and the southern edge of the Twin Cities, I-35 sits on glacial sediments left behind by the Grantsburg sublobe of the Des Moines Lobe. What the heck is that? The Des Moines Lobe was the last major glacial advance over Minnesota, arriving about 14,000 years ago. And then, just a few thousand years later, it was gone. Between Hinckley and the Snake River at Pine City, the gently rolling topography you're seeing out the window is ground moraine from the Superior Lobe, basically the debris left behind when a glacier melts. And if you notice a really flat section between exits 180 and 175, that was actually the old lake bed of Glacial Lake Grantsburg. It's actually kind of wild to think that we're driving over the bottom of an ancient lake that hasn't held water in over 10,000 years. Between exits 195 and 191, we're going to hit two stops that tell the story of the Hinckley Sandstone, a building stone that shaped towns across the Midwest. The first stop is Banning State Park at exit 195. The entrance is about a half-mile east of I-35 on Highway 23. Trails here will take you past old rock quarries that were active to varying degrees from 1885 until 1938. The sandstone quarried here was shipped to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Duluth. Most of it was used in Midwest buildings, but some of it made it all the way to the east and west coasts. A small town called Banning once existed where the park is now, named after the quarries that defined it. A little further north at exit 191 is the town of Sandstone, Minnesota. There's a pretty large, accessible, abandoned quarry here in Robinson Park in the north side of County Road 30, right next to the Kettle River. Now, geologists usually name a rock formation after the place where it's best exposed, but they didn't call this the Sandstone for obvious reasons. The first quarry opened up here in 1885, and the stone had to be hauled 10 miles by teams of oxen to the nearest railroad, which at the time was Hinckley, hence the name, the Hinckley Sandstone. At the Moose Lake exit, there's a stop that's perfect if you want to take a little break and learn a little bit more about Minnesota's geology. Moose Lake State Park is just about a half-mile off I-35, and it's home to the Moose Lake Agate and Geological Interpretive Center. Inside, there are tons of geological exhibits. But the main focus here is the Lake Superior Agate, Minnesota's official state gemstone. These agates formed about 1.1 billion years ago in gas cavities, called vesicles, in basaltic lava flows from the mid-continent rift. When the basalt weathered away over millions of years, the resistant agates were freed and then transported here by glaciers from the Lake Superior Basin. That's why you can find them in glacial sediments all over this part of the state. If you want to dig deeper into how Lake Superior agates form, GeoGirl recently put out an awesome video breaking down the whole process and how to find them. I'll link it in the description. Between exit 216 and Milepost 229, we start to see evidence of the Superior Lobe and where it sat during the last glaciation. But the real geology show starts near Milepost 247. From about Milepost 245 onward, if you're heading north towards Duluth, you'll see prominent rocky bluffs rising alongside the highway. These are road cuts through the oldest basalt lava flows of the North Shore volcanic group. But how do we know that they're the oldest? Well, in any stacked sequence of layered rocks, whether sedimentary or volcanic, the oldest layers are at the bottom and the youngest are at the top, assuming the stack hasn't been flipped upside down by tectonic forces. And we know these flows haven't been overturned because each lava flow has an abundance of gas bubbles, again called vesicles, at its top. Gases rise as the lava cools, so these vesicles tell us which way was up when the flow solidified. These flows are separated from the main body of the North Shore volcanic group by about 6 miles of the intrusive Duluth complex, a massive body of magma that cooled slowly underground. Between the bottom and the top of the Duluth hillside, I-35 cuts through road exposures of a variety of gabbro from the Duluth complex in the layered series. You'll probably miss the layering if you're driving because it's pretty subtle. I know I did. But if you want a closer look and a killer view of Duluth, take exit 250 and head up to the Thompson Hill rest area. Along the trail around the rest area and towards the back of the parking lot, there's a road cut exposing the layered gabbro. The coarse-grained rock has alternating light and dark bands, the result of crystals slowly settling out of a moving magma chamber located a few miles underground. It's like a snapshot of a magma chamber in the act of crystallizing, frozen in time. Heads up, the road cut mentioned in the Roadside Geology book looks pretty overgrown and like on the corner of the rest area highway, so just a fair warning on that. You'll probably have to walk to it to be safer. You can't just like stop and look at it. So that's pretty much the journey from the Twin Cities to Duluth. I'm sorry that I kind of voiced over a lot of it. Driving is really hard, especially since I've been up since 2 o'clock in the morning. That route covers glacial lakes, ancient sandstone quarries, agates in the sediment, and the first glimpses of the billion-year-old rocks that dominate the North Shore. So now we're going to go ahead and roll through the city of Duluth and drive what is supposedly known as one of the world's most magnificent drives.